Well, hey gang, how you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report, and this is going to cover all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet in La Paz, Baja, Mexico. Hope wherever you are, you're doing well, taking care of each other, and thank you for checking in, and please make a smile and subscribe below. Let's talk about some fishing. Well, we can definitely tell the seasons are changing. It's getting a little cooler, it's getting a little windier. In fact, temperatures, I gotta say, are really pleasant. They're down in the mid 80s or so, sometimes the lower 80s. Nighttime temperatures are really pleasant, 75 degrees or so. Humidity is down as well. It's a nice time to be in town. But is it a great time to be fishing? Well, gotta tell you, this time of year, we see those north winds start up. And this is, we call it the transition time. It's starting to change, starting to get cooler. The north winds are starting to blow, and when those start blowing pretty consistently, it just gets harder to fish. The water temperatures get cooler, and instead of the warm water species, like the Dorado, well, if we had any tuna, the Dorado, the marlin, billfish, wahoo, the warm water species, those start leaving, and we start getting more cooler water species. The Pargo, the Cabrilla, the Sierra, species like that, and so that's what's happening. This week we had about 2 or 3 days of some really strong northern winds. Now, that made it a little bumpy to be outside. In fact, if those of you have been and seen La Paz Bay, it's usually pretty flat, pretty calm. Sometimes you can't even tell between the ocean and the horizon. It's just one continuous blue flat color. It looks like glass. Well, this week was actually choppy out there to the point where some of the waves that were hitting the Malecon were actually splashing cars along the waterfront there. In terms of fishing, well, 2 things. Number one, it makes it bumpy, makes it a little rough, makes it harder for us to get to some of the fishing spots because you got to cross the channel, you got to get into some of the rockier places where the waves are crashing, but also it's harder to get bait. The bait guys got to get close to shore, they've got to get in the rocks, they've got to get over to the beaches where the bait's swimming, and if big waves are crashing, it just makes it either impossible or unsafe to get to those areas, or it makes it pretty hard to just find the bait. So a couple of days we really had some problems there, but overall, not a bad week of fishing. Actually, it was pretty good. The Dorado were still biting, and again, that bigger model showed up instead of the little 5 and 10 pounders we got most of the season. The Dorado this week, 10 to 20, maybe even some 25 pounders. There were also some marlin as well. Blue marlin. We also had a black marlin on for a little while. Some stripers are out there. As well, there were some tuna caught. We haven't had any tuna all year. I think we had one day back in July, and we got excited, and that was kind of it. Well, this week, one of our boats made it kind of far. They went all the way down almost to the northern part of the East Cape, and they found some legitimate 25 to 40 pound tuna. They tried to go back the next day. The winds came up, impossible to get there. But we know the tuna are there. The other thing is that we started getting some of the cooler water fish in, as I spoke about earlier. Some Sierra were caught. We also got some big dogtooth snapper, some barred Pargo, some Pargo Lisa. Those are all indicative of cooler water starting to move in. But overall, everyone who wanted fish caught fish. Everyone who wanted to bring fish home brought fish home. Those who wanted to eat fish at our restaurant, there was fish for them to cook up. So we're going to keep an eye on the weather. We don't have a lot of people fishing this time of year. As we get closer to the holidays, this is that little slow time when folks are doing other things, and also some of the airline rates are a little on the higher side. But we've got some folks coming down next week and the week after. This past week, a little slow, so even though we had the winds, at least it didn't affect a lot of our fishermen. The other thing is this week, Jill and I are going to be in Cabo San Lucas instead of with our fleet in La Paz. The Western Outdoor News Cabo Tuna Jackpot is on as of today. Even though we were worried about this tournament, and even though there's a lot of restrictions, we've got over 130 teams from, I believe, 24 different countries coming down. So that's going to be exciting. I'll be taping or doing my next video from down in Cabo San Lucas with all of the updates there, as well as, of course, our La Paz fishing report as well. So anyway, that's going to do it for a quick wrap-up of our Mexican Minute. This is Jonathan for Tailhunter Sportfishing. Take care of each other. Be good to each other. God bless. Thanks for checking in.